Okay, so big shout out to this guy here, Matthew, for sending in his photo for us to edit. All of his details will be in the description, so go down there, give him a follow, and yeah. So when we come down, we can see we've got that classic faded outback look, really flat, not a great deal of contrast at all, but looks really great. And it looks like he's using about a 35mm, and yeah, awesome portraits, awesome landscapes. And this is the image here we're going to be working with today. So yeah, make sure you go give him a follow, and let's get into Lightroom and see if we can create something like this. Final edited image here and our unedited image. And for those that are wondering how to get this look in camera, if you come down here, and one of the things 35mm does for you is it allows you to fit in a model and a background. So if you click on enable profile corrections, it tells you the lens. So 35mm f4, and f4 gives you that depth of field, that nice blurry background. And if you come up here to histogram, you can see ISO, millimeter, f-stop, and shutter speed for those that are interested in how to construct this in camera. Okay, so let's get into editing this. So the first thing, I'm just going to slightly bring up the exposure. I'm going to really drop the contrast, as I think it's quite a flat image with a lot of fade. Shadows. There is quite a bit of shadows in the image, but quite a few shadows come in when you bring up the fade. Whites. Gonna bring up, and then as always I'm dropping these blacks. It gives us our contrast back, and then when we give it a nice fade, those blacks will soften up. So clarity, quite a soft image, and saturation down. Okay, tone curve. So working on a pretty good fade. Okay, so that's our tone curve done. As you can see, a big fade, and I really brought down those whites and highlights. As you can see, very flat up there. They're kept really in control. And then I did some RGB. So I wanted a little warmer in the shadows and a little bit cooler with the blues and the highlights. So just a tad, bringing the blues up a tad there. Greens just to keep everything in check. And yeah, brought the reds down a little, but not as much as the blues, giving it a little bit warmer. So moving on, I'm going to come all the way down to calibration. So I want to warm up these greens into more of a yellow. You can do this in HSL, but I think sometimes it's better to do it down here. I think that gives a better starting point for HSL now. So I am going to just play around with these. This is just affecting that skirt mainly, only a little. I'm going to shift it orange. Oranges, only skin tone. Yellows. Now we're looking too yellow, but if you shift the greens, leave them there, come down to saturation, Drop these greens. I think we're looking pretty close. Coming back up. Aqua. Not much going on. There's a tiny bit in the flowers. I'm just trying to match it up with the reference image. That's all I'm trying to do. Purple, little bit in the flowers. And magenta, really affecting that skirt. I'm going to bring it towards this direction. I think that looks closer. And saturation. Saturate those reds quite a bit, I think. So that skirt is looking pretty close already. Skin tones. Come down to purple. It's only really affecting those flowers down here and here. Don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks like I'm going to take it all the way down. Luminance, brighten a few things. I'm almost always bringing up my yellow luminance. Just really creates a pop. And we've got pretty deep greens if you're looking down here and around there. So that's why I'm going to bring down the luminance. And magenta. So affecting the skirt. I think we're looking pretty good already. Might just bring it down a bit. We'll bring it up. I'll settle with it down a little as it's quite a deep, but pull back on the saturation a little. Alright, happy with that. Okay, I don't think we've got much else. It doesn't look like any grain really at all. You put a little bit in. I think it if this was my image, I'd probably put a bit of grain, maybe. I'll leave it out. Leave sharpening, leave split toning. And I just want to bring back some of these details in her hair and in her shirt. So I'm going to grab the brush. And I'm just going to lightly brush on her here and on his shirt. And it's just quite bright, so we're losing some of those details, some of those darker spots. So I'm going to do things like bring down those whites. Maybe bring down some blacks. As you can see, just gives a bit more detail back. And dehaze will also do that. We bring dehaze up. And I think we're looking good. I can't really spot many other major differences. So these are before and after. Before and after, and I'm doing that by hitting the slash key above the enter button on a Mac. And we're pretty close, so I'm just going to leave it there, guys. Make sure you go give him a follow. His links to his Instagram will be in the description, so make sure you go do that. Give myself a follow, check out my presets if you're after those, and yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one.